Imagine if the neighbor tasked with upholding the rules was the one sneaking into your backyard, swimming in your pool, and then penalizing you for calling her out. Preston Gaines never thought installing a pool in his own yard would feel like a regret. For years, he and his wife, Tanya, saved diligently, envisioning their children dashing out on a warm Carolina afternoon, diving into the water and laughing freely. When the construction crew finally departed, leaving a sparkling blue pool framed by a tidy wooden deck, Preston felt a surge of accomplishment. It wasn't just a pool, it was a testament to his hard work, but that pride soon turned to bewilderment. Just days after the pool's completion, Preston returned from his job at the Durham distribution center and noticed something odd. His sandals, always left by the deck's edge, were wet, though he hadn't used the pool since the weekend. The kids were at school, and Tanya was inside cooking dinner. "Did you go for a swim today?" he asked Tanya as he entered the kitchen. She shook her head, drying her hands on a cloth. "Not since Sunday." "Why?" Preston didn't respond immediately, his brow furrowing as he stepped back outside. That's when he spotted the footprints, wet, faint, but clear, trailing from the pool's shallow end across the deck to the back gate. At first, he tried to rationalize it. Maybe the kids had slipped in for a quick dip before school and kept it quiet. But the water was too fresh, the prints too recent, someone had been there within hours. The next morning, the mystery deepened. Sipping coffee in the yard, Preston noticed his daughter's inflatable flamingo float drifting in the pool, still in its box until now. Tanya was just as confused. "Could the wind have blown it in?" she offered. Preston eyed it again. Its latch was loose, slightly ajar. He'd secured it, he always did. Over dinner, he raised the issue with the kids. "Jordan, Ava, did either of you swim yesterday?" Both shook their heads. Jordan, 15 and indignant, said, "Dad, I'd never go in without asking. You'd lose it if I touched the filters." Preston believed them, leaving only one conclusion: someone else was sneaking into their yard. All week, he tried to push the thought aside. Work kept him busy with extra shifts, and Tanya juggled the kids' school schedules. Yet each visit to the backyard revealed new clues: a chair slightly askew, water droplets lingering on the deck after the sun had dried everything else, and once, a towel slung over the fence that wasn't theirs. By Thursday, Preston had had enough. After putting the kids to bed, he sat with Tanya at the kitchen table. "I think someone's using our pool," he confessed. She raised an eyebrow. "Who?" "A neighbor." Preston nodded slowly. "It's the only thing that fits, but I won't accuse anyone without proof." Tanya leaned in, her voice hushed despite their solitude. "What about Claudia?" The name lingered heavily. Claudia Hensley, 2 houses down, was notorious in the neighborhood. She loved rules when they suited her, preaching HOA guidelines at gatherings while ignoring her own infractions, like leaving trash cans out for days. Preston had noticed her eyeing his yard during the pool's construction, her expression tight, as if measuring it against her own. Still, he wasn't ready to point fingers. "I'm not accusing yet," he said firmly, "but I'll find out." The next morning, before work, Preston stopped at a Durham electronics store and bought 2 motion-activated cameras. By Saturday, he'd mounted them, one facing the pool deck, the other the back gate. As he checked the live feed on his phone, he muttered, "Let's see who's treating my yard like a free resort." He didn't wait long. The first recording left his stomach churning and his anger flaring. Saturday morning, Preston woke early, barely rested, his mind racing with curiosity about the cameras. At the kitchen table, coffee in hand, he opened the app and checked the motion alerts. The initial clips were mundane: squirrels scampering, a raccoon prowling, branches swaying. But then, just after noon the previous day, the gate moved. Preston leaned closer. A figure strode in, confident, not stealthy. It was no stranger, it was Claudia Hensley. In her late 50s, always dressed like she was headed to a garden club meeting, she carried a rolled towel and glanced around briefly before crossing the deck like it was hers. Preston's jaw tightened. He fast-forwarded, watching her kick off her shoes and wade into the pool. Within minutes, she was floating in the shallow end, hair pinned up, as if it were a private retreat. He exhaled sharply and called, "Tanya, come see this." She rushed in, wiping her hands. "What's wrong?" He handed her the phone. Tanya's jaw dropped. "Is that?" "Yeah," Preston cut in. "It's Claudia." They watched the full clip. Claudia swam for nearly 40 minutes, lounging on Preston's deck chairs, even rummaging through a cooler from last weekend's barbecue to grab a soda. When the video ended, Tanya sat back, stunned. "I knew she was brazen, but this is trespassing." Preston nodded. And she's on the HOA board. If anyone else did this, she'd be slapping them with fines. His anger simmered all day. Each step into the backyard replayed the footage in his mind. It wasn't just the pool, it was about respect. His family had earned this home, and Claudia treated it like a public park. That afternoon, he spotted her across the street, watering her flowers. She waved casually, calling, "Morning, Preston," as if nothing was amiss. He nearly marched over, phone in hand, but Tanya grabbed his arm. "Don't," she urged. "Not yet. Let's plan this." Preston exhaled, calming himself. Tanya was right, rushing in angry would play into Claudia's hands. She had a knack for spinning stories. That evening, over dinner, they discussed it again. Jordan was livid. "She just waltzed in. That's insane. Post the video online, Dad. Call her out." Eva, quieter, asked, "What if she comes back when we're home?" Preston squeezed her hand. "She won't, not after I deal with this." But he wasn't certain. If Claudia felt bold enough to trespass once, what stopped her from doing it again? The next day, pulling into the driveway after work, Preston's blood boiled anew. The gate was ajar. He rushed to the backyard, fresh footprints trailed to the pool, the water still rippling. He checked the camera feed. Another clip, recorded an hour earlier, confirmed it. Claudia was back, this time with another woman, both laughing, floating, sipping drinks, completely at ease. Preston couldn't believe it. This wasn't just trespassing, it was a habit. Claudia treated his property like her own extension. That night, showing Tanya the new footage, she rubbed her temples. "She's not just crossing lines, Preston. She's daring you to act." "I'll confront her tomorrow," he said firmly, face to face. But when he did, Claudia wasn't remorseful, she doubled down in a way that left him floored. The next morning, Preston crossed the street, phone ready with the video cued. Claudia was trimming her flower bed, looking serene. "Good morning, Preston," she chirped, snipping away. "Morning," he replied, voice flat. He stood near her driveway. "We need to talk." Claudia glanced up, eyebrows raised, feigning ignorance. "Sure, what's up?" Preston tapped his phone and held it out, the video playing. "This." Claudia's eyes flicked to the screen, but her expression barely shifted. She kept snipping. "Yes, that's me. Your gate was open, so I figured I'd use the pool. No big deal." Preston stared, incredulous. "No big deal. That's my private pool. You can't just stroll into my yard like it's public property." Claudia set down her clippers, brushing her hands. "Now, Preston, don't get upset. The HOA oversees community standards, and technically," he cut her off. "Technically nothing. That's my property, paid for with my money, not the HOA's." Her smile tightened, but she didn't budge. "You're new here compared to some of us. Maybe you don't get how we share to build community." Preston's jaw clenched. "You mean you take what's not yours and call it sharing?" The conversation grew heated, voices rising. Tanya, watching from their porch, grew anxious. Preston didn't shout, but his words carried weight. "I'm telling you clearly, stay out of my yard, don't touch my gate, don't swim in my pool. This is the last time we'll discuss this." For a moment, Claudia's face hardened, then she laughed lightly, dismissing him. "Preston, you're blowing this out of proportion. I'm on the HOA board. I have a right to ensure properties are maintained." Preston's eyes narrowed. "Maintaining doesn't mean swimming in my pool for 40 minutes. The standoff lingered before Claudia grabbed her clippers, turning away. "Suit yourself," she said airily, "but don't be surprised if the HOA flags your patio furniture. It's not quite up to code." Preston's stomach twisted with rage. She wasn't just unapologetic, she was threatening retaliation. That evening, he told Tanya. She shook her head, exasperated. She's not even ashamed. She thinks she's untouchable. Jordan, overhearing, muttered, "So what now? You just let her keep doing this." Preston sat heavily. "No, but I can't lose it. That's what she wants. I'll outsmart her." Tanya leaned forward. "Be ready." If she's hinting at HOA trouble, she's coming for us next. Sure enough, 2 days later, an HOA envelope arrived, citing Preston's backyard decor, solar lights and a small fire pit, as violating community standards. Reading it aloud at dinner, his voice dripped with sarcasm. Apparently, solar lights threaten aesthetic harmony. Tanya scoffed. Claudia wrote this, no question. Preston folded the letter. She wants a fight. Fine. But she doesn't know I've got proof. The kids exchanged uneasy glances. They'd seen the videos and knew Claudia had crossed a line. Their worry wasn't about right or wrong, it was how far she'd go to save face. As the week progressed, Claudia acted unfazed, waving at neighbors, tending her yard, her smile intact. But Preston noticed her eyes lingering on his house, calculating. He didn't confront her again, letting her think he'd backed off. Inside, he was plotting a move to expose her undeniably. But before he could act, Claudia escalated in a way that pushed his family to the edge. Preston expected more from Claudia, but not this. It began with more HOA notices, 3 in a week, each pettier than the last. One flagged his patio umbrella's color, another claimed his recycling bins were out too long, though he moved them promptly. The third demanded he trim a front yard dogwood tree planted before he owned the house. Preston knew Claudia's handiwork was behind the nitpicking. At the kitchen table, he tossed the letters down. This isn't the HOA, it's Claudia burying us in nonsense to hide her own actions. Tanya scanned a notice. She's abusing her role. If neighbors don't know the truth, they'll buy her story. Jordan slammed his fist lightly. Dad, you can't let her win. She's making us look like we're the problem. Preston leaned back, staring at the letters. I won't, but I need to be strategic. If I swing too soon, she'll spin it as harassment. The next day, his suspicions grew. Arriving home early, he saw Claudia slip through his gate again, this time with 2 other women, toting bags and towels, settling onto his deck chairs like it was a planned gathering. His heart raced. From inside, he snapped photos, resisting the urge to confront them. When Tanya got home, he showed her. She's in there again, with friends, like it's her yard. Tanya gasped. She's not even hiding it, Preston. This is too much. He nodded, seething. It's not just the pool, it's control. She's making an example of us, but I won't let her. That night, the footage showed Claudia and her friends lounging, laughing, even waving at the camera, daring him to act. 2 days later, the retaliation escalated. At a neighborhood cookout, neighbors gave Preston and Tanya odd looks. Mr. Ridley approached cautiously. Hey, are you really adding a fence extension? Claudia said it'll ruin the neighborhood's look. Preston frowned. What? No, that's a lie. Ridley shrugged. Just passing on what's out there. Preston's blood boiled. Claudia wasn't just trespassing or filing false violations, she was spreading rumors to tarnish his reputation. That evening, Tanya sat beside him. She's turning people against us. First fake notices, now lies. What's next? Preston's voice was firm. Next, I fight. Back. He'd had enough. For weeks, he'd stayed calm, gathered evidence, but Claudia's arrogance, her power abuse, and now her smear campaign left no choice. That night, he compiled everything, videos, photos, notices, and neighbor conversations. This wasn't just about him and Claudia anymore, it was about exposing her to the HOA, maybe even a court. But before he could act, Claudia struck again, crossing from petty harassment to something deeply personal, leaving his family shaken. Preston thought he'd seen Claudia's worst, trespassing and fake violations were bad enough, but the following week brought a new low. It was a sticky Wednesday afternoon when Tanya called him at work, her voice tense. Preston, come home now. His stomach sank. What's wrong? It's Claudia. She was in the yard again, with 4 people. Ava came home from school and found them in the pool. She was scared. Preston didn't even clock out. He sped home, pulling into the driveway in under 30 minutes. Ava sat on the porch, arms crossed, shaken. Jordan stood protectively nearby. Tanya, by the door, radiated fury. Preston knelt before Ava. You okay, sweetheart? She nodded, eyes wet. They were laughing, Dad, like it was their house. When they saw me, Claudia said, "Don't worry, we'll leave soon," like I didn't belong. Preston's chest tightened. He kissed her forehead, jaw clenched. Tanya touched his arm. This isn't just trespassing, Preston. It's intimidation. That night, after the kids were in bed, he reviewed the footage. The camera caught Claudia leading 4 women through the gate, laughing, drinking, splashing, dismissing Ava like an intruder. Preston slammed the table. Enough is enough. Tanya leaned in. What's the plan? I'll show the whole board, he said. Every neighbor will know what she's done. The next day, Claudia upped the ante. An HOA letter arrived, declaring Preston's pool a potential hazard, requiring closure for inspection. He read it twice, fury rising. She's trying to lock us out of our own pool. He paced the deck, letter crumpled in his fist. Jordan muttered, she thinks she runs the neighborhood. Preston looked at him. Not for long. That evening, as he watered the lawn, Claudia passed by with her dog, smiling sweetly. Evening, Preston. His voice was sharp. Don't evening me. You scared my daughter today. Do you get that? She felt unsafe in her own yard. Claudia tilted her head, feigning innocence. Oh, we were just enjoying the pool. No harm done. Preston stepped closer. No harm. You've crossed every line. If you think your HOA badge protects you, you're wrong. Her smile wavered briefly, then she straightened. Careful, Preston. The board has rules. Defiance won't look good. His words cut like steel. You don't scare me. You've abused your power too long, and I've got proof. Claudia didn't respond, just tugged her dog's leash and walked off. Preston simmered. Back inside, Tanya gripped his shoulder. She's baiting you, wanting you to snap so she can spin it. Don't let her. He nodded. I won't, but she'll regret ever stepping into our yard. That night, he organized his evidence meticulously, folders of footage, labeled by date, stills of Claudia and her guests, violation letters. Each piece was undeniable. But as he built his case, Claudia was plotting a counterattack that would drag his family deeper into the fight. By Friday, Preston thought he'd hit his limit, but Claudia wasn't done. That morning, at the mailbox, Tanya held another HOA envelope, her expression grim. What now? Preston asked, bracing himself. She handed it over. The notice accused them of disturbing the peace with late-night pool noise, despite not using it in a week. Preston laughed bitterly. Splashing. Narrative, making us the rule breakers. Preston gripped the paper. She's building a case to fine us, maybe sue. This ends now. At dinner, tension hung heavy. Jordan pushed his food around. What's the point of the pool if we're scared to use it? She's stolen it. Ava's voice was small. Can we swim again without her showing up? Preston took her hand. Yes, sweetheart. This is our home. No one takes that from us. He looked at Tanya, resolute. I'm done. I'm taking this head on. That evening, by the pool, Preston felt the weight of injustice. He'd worked so hard for this dream, only for Claudia to poison it with her entitlement. Tanya joined him, touching his shoulder. You can't do this alone. I won't, he said, but I'll handle it carefully. If I explode, she wins. If I stay silent, she takes more. I'll hit her where she can't dodge. The next day, things escalated further. While mowing the lawn, Preston saw Claudia on the sidewalk, filming him with her phone. What are you doing? He asked, stopping the mower. Just documenting, she said sweetly. Complaints about your power tool noise. His jaw tightened. I mow once a week, like everyone. She shrugged. The board will decide. Neighbors watched from windows. Preston felt the trap, she wanted him to snap. He took a breath. Film away. Just catch the part where you sneak into my yard. Her smile flickered, and she left. That evening, the family tried to relax with a movie, but every gate creak or dog bark set them on edge. Jordan finally spoke. "Dad, you always said stand up to bullies. She's a grown-up bully. Why does she get away with it?" Preston met his son's eyes. "She won't. But fighting a bully means being smarter, not louder." Tanya squeezed his hand. "So, what's the plan?" Preston leaned forward. "I gather every shred of evidence and take it to the board. If they don't act, I go further." He pulled out a folder, video stills, notices, notes. Each page showed Claudia's entitlement, her trespassing, her abuse. His resolve hardened. This wasn't just about a pool, it was about his family's safety. But as he prepared, Claudia was readying her own defense, setting up a showdown that would shake the neighborhood. Preston spent the weekend building his case, papers spread across the dining table like a lawyer prepping for trial. Tanya brought coffee, and the kids helped organize clips on a USB drive. Every detail counted. He created a timeline from the first wet footprints, attaching stills of Claudia entering, lounging, taking drinks, and bringing friends. He paired each video with the HOA notices that followed his confrontation, showing retaliation. "See the pattern," he told Tanya. "Every pushback, she hits us with another violation." Tanya nodded. "It's airtight. She can't dodge this." Jordan, quiet until now, asked, "What if the HOA sides with her? She's got friends there." Preston's voice was steady. "Then we go higher, city enforcement, maybe a lawyer. Her power thrives on silence. We won't be silent." Monday, he requested a spot at the next HOA meeting. Gerald Lyons, the president, confirmed. "You'll have 10 minutes. "That's enough," Preston replied. The meeting night arrived, the clubhouse packed. Tanya and Jordan came for support. Ava stayed home, nervous about facing Claudia. Claudia sat up front, clipboard in hand, composed. When Preston's turn came, he stood, folder ready. "I'm addressing a violation of our property rights. For weeks, someone's been entering our pool without permission. I have proof." He handed Gerald a flash drive. "These clips show Claudia Hensley, a board member, trespassing, using my pool, bringing others. After I confronted her, we got these." He held up violation notices, petty, baseless, retaliatory. He showed stills. The room buzzed. Claudia shifted but stayed silent. Gerald frowned. "Mrs. Hensley, do you deny this?" She stood, voice calm but sharp. "The videos are misleading. The gate was open, so I checked for safety." Preston snapped, "Safety? You swam, drank from my cooler, brought friends. That's trespassing." The room went quiet. Gerald tapped the table. "Do you deny swimming?" Claudia hesitated. "I swam, believing it was community access." Laughter erupted. "Community access?" Mr. Holt called. "It's his backyard." Preston pressed. If anyone else did this, the HOA would have acted. She thought her position made her untouchable. "That stops now." Gerald sighed. "We'll review and decide." Claudia's smirk faded, her face tight. As the meeting ended, neighbors avoided her, whispering. Tanya gripped Preston's arm. "You did it." He shook his head. "Not over. She'll fight back." And she did, preparing a defense to upend the neighborhood. The night after, Preston sat late, reviewing his evidence. Claudia's hesitation at the meeting gave him hope, but her influence lingered. She could twist the truth if he didn't stay vigilant. Over breakfast, he outlined his plan. Step 1, keep documenting everything. Step 2, talk to neighbors, show them the truth. Step 3, if the HOA fails, we go legal. Eva, quiet, said, "I just want to feel safe." Preston squeezed her hand. "That's why I'm fighting, sweetheart." He visited the Holts, showing a clip. They were appalled. "She's been saying you're the troublemaker," Mr. Holt said. Preston shared with others, a young couple, a single mom, Mr. Idly. Shock spread, along with stories of Claudia's overreach. The tide turned. He contacted a Raleigh attorney, sending videos. Clear trespassing, the attorney said. If the HOA doesn't act, we file. Claudia grew bolder, pausing by Preston's driveway, meeting board members secretly. Tanya warned, she's not stopping. Preston nodded. Neither am I. The next HOA meeting was electric, the clubhouse overflowing. Claudia sat up front, nervous beneath her calm facade. Gerald gave Preston the floor. He projected a clip, Claudia leading women into his pool, then dismissing Ava. Gasps filled the room. This isn't about furniture or rules, Preston said. It's about respect. My family deserves safety. Claudia's abused her power, retaliating when confronted. Claudia stood, voice sharp. Out of context. I thought it was safe to check. Mr. Holt interrupted. That's no safety check. That's trespassing. Gerald proposed suspending Claudia from HOA duties and barring her from Preston's property. The vote was unanimous. Claudia left quickly, her composure gone. Neighbors thanked Preston. Tanya whispered, "It's over." He replied, "Not yet." Days later, the neighborhood felt lighter. Preston enjoyed the pool with his family, laughter echoing. Gerald called, Claudia was removed from the board. At dinner, Jordan asked, "What's the lesson?" Preston said, "Silence empowers bullies. Speak up, shine a light, they lose." Tanya added, "And we stand for others too." The pool became their haven again, a symbol of resilience. Preston never forgot the fight, and each latched gate reminded him of protecting what mattered. He hoped his story would inspire others to stand against injustice, because a home is where you should always feel safe, respected, and free. If you believe in standing up to those who cross lines, don't stay silent, defend your space.